Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
Who's the worst main character we're supposed to sympathize with? Hannah Baker from 13 Reasons Why. Commits suicide and becomes romanticized by the school and everyone around her. Gets a cute boy to become obsessed with her and view her as the one who got away. And gets revenge on all her bullies. It's everything you don't want to tell or show a person struggling with suicidal thoughts. Man, I hated that show for this exact reason. You make a show for teenagers and tell them, hey, you want revenge against your classmates? Killing yourself will really fuck 'em up. It's just completely irresponsible for that show to exist. There's a very good deep dive commentary on YT called The Failures of 13 Reasons Why, and it's basically what you said but in a much more detailed and, in some parts, frustrated way. I recommend everyone who watched that atrocity of a show to watch it as well. It may have had a good intention and direction behind it, but the creators seem to have lost all that in an attempt to make the show more dramatic for the masses. It did more harm than good, and even aside from its traumatic themes, it just wasn't a good show overall. They should have ended it after the second season, or just done a good job with the first, cause it had so much potential, not to mention budget and exposure. They also specifically asked suicide awareness and prevention organizations what to do and not do when depicting suicide, and promptly ignored every single thing they were told. This show is disgusting and pathetic, and the creators should be ashamed. The sad reality is, the truth of how to handle people with suicidal ideations isn't romantic, sexy, funny, or entertaining. It's simply not a good subject for a show trying to cast a wide net and garner a large audience, so they just made something that lots of people would watch without concern for the consequences. This is the thread where I learn how out of touch with popular culture I am. I only recognized Tom and Jerry. Jerry from Tom and Jerry. Now, nothing in the Tom and Jerry verse is really consistent, and a lot of the dynamic depends on whichever studio did the episode. But I remember a lot of times when Tom wasn't really trying to seriously hurt Jerry. He was usually toying with him like cats do, or if he'd cross the line, he would immediately feel bad about it and then save Jerry himself. Meanwhile, Jerry, the little fuck we're supposed to root for, uses that to his advantage to lure Tom into situations that genuinely would have killed him if not for cartoon immortality. I always rooted for Tom and Wile E. Coyote. They were both put in the same position. They're not bad guys, but the story tries to force them into the bad guy role, while the protagonist regularly displays selfish and immoral behavior. Tom and Wile E. had a special place in my heart from early in my cartoon-filled childhood. Edit. Love y'all chiming in with thoughts and corrections to my misperception. Seems my memories had lost some details to time. I'll have to find somewhere I can stream old Roadrunner cartoons and relive it. Kalu. He can't grow hair, not because he has cancer or progeria, but because he sucks, and even his own body recognizes that he does not deserve hair or food or love. Quote. That was hilarious when it was the actual Google result when you ask why Kalu is bald. That fucker basically teaches kids how to whine about shit because it's not fair. What's not fair is parents having to listen to their kids behave like that lollipop-looking piece of shit. Fuck you, Kalu. You better hope I better never see your ass in the streets. Chris Pratt in the movie Passengers. Out of pure selfishness, the dude decides to ruin the bright future of a girl so that she has no other option than to live with him. She'll never accomplish the great projects she had. She'll never see any of her loved ones. She'll never be able to even talk to another human being. She will live in prison for the rest of her days. While the movie hints at the fact that he's a selfish asshole, it's largely overbalanced by the idea that a man's gotta do what he's gotta do to pursue his own happiness. In the end, her Stockholm Syndrome is presented as a happily ever after ending. The movie should have been a horror movie. There's a common opinion it's a far better film if it's from Jennifer Lawrence's point of view. There are also edits of it where Pratt dies at the end and we last see Lawrence contemplating life alone and the sleep pods. Been a while since I've seen it, but didn't she have the option to go back to sleep? Regardless, Pratt should have died, leaving her the dilemma of whether to wake someone else up. That would have been much more interesting ending. Chris Pratt's character coming back from the dead puts this movie in at least my top 5 of movies that didn't have the balls to tell the more interesting story. Instead they force the happily ever after ending. Emily from Emily in Paris. I keep joking about how everyone in this goddamn show is constantly offered incredible jobs. There was a pregnancy announced on the latest finale and my first reaction was, that fetus gonna be the CEO of a chain of daycares by the end of season 4. The way Emily's boyfriend got the job as a CFO after speaking once with the owner. Like wow. And Gabriel is just the best chef in the world. And Emily is the best marketing person in the world. Everyone loves Emily no matter what. And French men are falling head over heels for her everywhere. Because France doesn't have pretty women. Right, I hate watched that show. Why? Because she bangs her friend's boyfriend and gets everything handed to her on a silver platter. Because she's hot and really really lucky. And don't forget that she's absolutely annoying as fuck. I mean, really really annoying. She's rude as hell and completely self-centered. I don't just find her annoying, I truly do not like her. She is a deeply toxic person. It's not just that she is spoiled and treat people around like they are just for her own personal benefit. It's how she do not care about the pain and problems she inflicts. She seem regretful about being found out or getting consequences for her actions. But not about her actions themselves. It's always, I can explain. After she has had plenty of time and situations to come clear about something and, well, explain. But always only a last resort after lying and covering up. She is very manipulative and spins all situation to be about her or to her benefit. She plays the victim when she can and only apologizes to gain back control of a situation. But never really seem to try and change her behavior. I feel like the show couldn't pick a lane. If they are going to have such a shallow, manipulative person as the main character, they need to lean into that. Don't try to pass her off as likable, admit who she is. But write it so that all her scheming blows up and she is the one left miserable. There are a lot of shows that have made that work, Basil Fawlty of Fawlty Towers type shows. But the show wants us to relate to Emily and take her side. They want her to be the likable young woman who gets up to zany, fun adventures in Paris. But betraying friends, being culturally ignorant and using people for your own gain aren't fun adventures. I couldn't even finish the first season,